welcome. I'm Michael, and I'm going to be your pilot today. Now, today we are going to take a little trip, I would say, down memory lane, because I have just got my hands on Flight Sim 2020, and one of the things I find really interesting about this particular, well, it's not a game, it is a simulator, but nevertheless, let's just call it a game for namesake, for the ease of it, is that it uses satellite image data for the maps. It has real flight data from real airplanes. There's multiplayer as well, so other players can come and land and take off and all that. And furthermore, it uses real weather data. So right now, here where I am, it's 11:32, so that means in the simulator, it's 11:32. Where we're taking off from now is the airport in Maribo. It's in the southern part of Sealand. Actually, it's called Lolland Falster. And it's clear skies here. So that means that it should be, if I took the car and drove to Lolland, we should have clear skies here. That's very cool. I think that's so extremely cool. I've done all the pre-flight checks and making sure the airplane works and all that. And I think we're going to set, let me see. We need to change this for, let me see. Oh yeah, let's remove the GPS. That's what we want GPS on. Alright. So I'm going to take you down for a little trip on memory lane here. I'm going to take you for a little trip over some of the parts of Denmark, of Sealand, that has been quite important to me, especially where I grew up, where I've worked, and yeah, that sort of thing. But I'm going to explain it down the way. I would like to state right now that I am completely new to Flight Sim 2020. I think the last one I played is very old. It's really, really old. Before 10. It's more than I think it was 10 years, 15 years, something like that when I played it. So it's some time ago, and it certainly has changed a lot since then. I have mapped so that I can look out of the side windows and out of the back window, and then I have mapped so that I can nullify, or we call it reset, my view. So if I take a look around in the cockpit to do some stuff, I can always reset that back to this view here. Anything more I want to say? No. Enjoy the ride with me, because I hope that I felt inspired by a certain guy. Arthur Chapman, he's a great man. He made a video where he showed parts of where he lived now, Ohio, and I thought that I would, well, why not do the same with Denmark? Because it's a small country, and I think that many people don't really realize what Denmark is and how it looks. So, yeah, let's get started. And yes, one thing, I'm very new to Flight Sim 2020. Also, I use a Logitech, let me see what's called, dual action gamepad. So if you if you seem to think that my flight is very erratic, that's the explanation. Let's do this. Releasing parking brake, and let's give it a little more throttle, not thrust. Get it started. There we go. Let's just roll back on the throttle. We don't need that much. And I'm going to stop right here. Check around. No planes coming. Not that I can see. Let me see if I can request takeoff from the tower. Let me see. Announce. Clear of runway.
Echo Kilo Mike Bravo, traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is clear of the runway.
No, that was not it. Let me see. Announce takeoff, depart. We're pointing north right now, so we'll go south, northeast. We're going west.
Echo Kilo Mike Bravo, traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taking off runway 10 west departure.
Alright. We have announced our takeoff. I'll figure out what I can do. Alright, so let's see if I can somehow ask the tower to be allowed to take off. Let me see. Announce taxi. Select a runway for takeoff. I'm pretty sure it was 28. And let me see, depart west.
Echo Kilo Mike Bravo, traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha taking off runway 28 west departure.
Alright, I suppose that's it. Hope you're ready. Let's do this. If I can keep it nice and centered. I know how to do that. And we are off. Alright, so let me do something while we're here. Pretty sure it's 600. Alright. Turn the flight director on. Heading indicator, altitude hold mode, and
Copenhagen Center Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha is type Cessna Skyhawk 2 miles west of Echo Kilo Mike Bravo.
interesting.
Request
All right.
flight following. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Copenhagen.
All right.
Squawk 2603.
Let's turn into our course.
Squawk 2603 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Reduce our throttle a little bit.
Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha radar contact 3 miles west of Echo Kilo Mike Bravo 800 feet. Altimeter 29.97. Copy Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
constantly trying to autopilot is constantly trying to fight me for control. Alright, so first I'm going to align the course.
Copenhagen Center, Eurowings Niner 242 is at flight level 280, descending 2,000 feet. Eurowings Niner 242 Copenhagen Center, continue as planned.
I'm pretty new at this with this autopilot here, so if you see me scroll around a big deal, that's the explanation for that. That should keep me relatively in the pipe for keeping the altitude 600 feet. And then I'm just going to reduce the velocity. At 500. Right now I'm trying to fly by the navigation here. So let me see if I turn autopilot on. He is definitely doing something I wouldn't expect. Turn nav on. Set into GPS, autopilot on. Let's see what it does. Oh, it's because he wants to align the course, yes, of course. I think I set my, yeah, cruising altitude to around 600 feet. Alright, so we'll leave autopilot on for now. Until something interesting comes up. I'm not sure why he keeps flapping back and forth. I'm going to override him. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Autopilot, but I'm not sure what the heck you're doing. See if I can turn this display on over here. Let me see. There. Now I can also see my. It's because I turned nav mode on. Let's see. Nav off. Yeah, now he's just set to level. Alright, I'm not sure why I call it a he, she, whatever.
Qatari 29er, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
Alright, so now you can see we have the map over at the right screen.
Copenhagen Center with Air
and we have
1676 is out of flight level 300 for 10,000 feet. With Air 1676 Copenhagen Center, continue as
be
planned.
quiet.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, Qatari 29er.
Keep it a little lower RPM. I can always extend flaps if I want to. reduce our velocity any further. Alright, so the first city we're going to fly over past is going to be a city that I worked on for a little bit of time. Not much, but some. And it's called Nykøbing Falster. Let's see if we can keep it level. Yeah, that's okay. It's called Nykøbing Falster. I worked at a high school there for a couple of months, full time, and I taught mostly physics. So while we're flying here, let me just state right now for all of you, if you disregard some of the bad textures that you can see, this is how Denmark looks. I haven't checked the numbers perfectly, but I'm pretty sure that it's around 70% of Denmark that is agricultural, this farmland. So we have a lot of farms here, I must say, really a lot of farms. And you can see that when you look out, well, when I look out the windows for you, because obviously you can only do what I show you. But this is how Denmark, well, I will say maybe we don't have that many trees around, possibly. Maybe that's a problem with the way that Microsoft has generated these maps. So, as I understand it, what you see on the maps right now are generated from satellite imagery. Cool, huh? Really cool. The smaller cities are definitely generic in nature, meaning that Microsoft didn't handcraft these cities. But the bigger cities, like for example Copenhagen, and of course major cities like New York or Wisconsin, or anything. Wisconsin is a state, but some of the major, Tokyo, Berlin, all that, they are handcrafted. Means that they have actually made the buildings to look like the buildings should. At least the major buildings. I am hoping that when we fly over a city called Roskilde, if any of you have seen the series The Rain, there is a small part in one of the episodes, I can't remember if it's season 1 or season 2, where they camp or get tested just outside the big cathedral in Roskilde. It's called Roskilde Domkirke. So, but in English you just call it a cathedral. And let me just disengage the autopilot for a quick second and align the course a little bit here. But first, like I said, we're going to go in over Nykøbing Falster. Now, obviously, I started Nykøbing Falster, and we're going to go pretty quickly over it, because I didn't spend that much time there. So I worked there, and it was happy to be there, but I didn't work there for long, so it's not something that I've spent many waking hours contemplating. I have also chosen to fly the Cessna, I think it's called the 175 GS 1000, because it has these nice MFDs for GPS. You can also choose the little older model, the 152. It has completely manual, only manual. Instrumentation. It makes it, I haven't tried yet that hard, but I am on the idea that it will make it a little harder to follow waypoints. Now, for some reason the waypoint didn't correct itself. It should do that pretty soon. Or perhaps not. Then I'm just going to fly by the map. That's okay, I can do that. Yeah, maybe it did correct itself. Or what? Well. Maybe we're going to fly past that windmill there. So one of the things you may notice, and I'm not sure you can notice that, but then I can tell you, Denmark is a relatively flat land. It is. But
Ryanair 2643, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
I can guarantee you that these islands here, Lolland and Falster, they are even flatter, if you will. I'm not sure you can say such a thing, but they are. So I'm not sure why I have a custom marker down there, because
500.
this here should take us over the city. Alright, so let me just turn on, engage the autopilot once again. Then I might, let me go for camera, go in upper position, like that. So now we can see a little bit more. So as you can see, if you look straight down, this is one of the generically engineered cities. So this is not a city. This part here is not. The buildings that you see here, what I'm trying to say is that some of them may be accurate, but most of them are not. But this is the city of Nykøbing Falster. It's a relatively small city. One of the cool things about the city is that it is directly on water. So now you can see if an airplane coming. Let me see if you can see him. He's pretty fast, so we might miss him. Yeah, but he's out there somewhere. This is most likely one of two scenarios. It can be another player, or it can be an AI playing a real traffic airplane. So let me see if I can explain it in a way that makes sense. So what Microsoft has done is that they acquire actual flight data. So I suppose it's data from actual flight transponders on real aircrafts that are flying around in the world. Well, in this case, in Denmark. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. So this is one of the big roads that we have here. Let's see here. Maybe it's the train. I'm not sure. I haven't spent that much time in Nykøbing, and also since that let me just correct that. Since the most of the buildings are generic in nature, they are pretty hard to sort of distinguish. I would like to have shown you where I worked. But I can tell you, for example, that big roundabout that you saw down there, that is an actual place. So there is an actual big roundabout in Nykøbing. I have driven around it, taken it several times in order to get to work at the high school. So let me just take another round. See, it looks pretty detailed, and if you look past that, the buildings don't look like this actually. So you can see the train tracks down there. It's the major station. and the high school should be down here somewhere. It's pretty hard to distinguish because I have to look for the shape of the building and not how the building actually looks. It makes it pretty difficult to figure out what it is, what it is, how it looks. Alright, so let's try to get back on track. I'm not sure why it's off-centered compared with the map, but I'll try to get it aligned again. So this was Nykøbing, a city that I actually also had I think it was my first girlfriend. She lived down here somewhere, a little bit outside, out of the, let me see if I can find the main road, in and out. I think it's down there. So if we follow the main road, there. I'm pretty sure this is the main road, in and out.
Air Baltic 652, you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude.
Yeah.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
So she would be, let me just engage the autopilot to...
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, Air Baltic 652.
Keep it level. There. So she would be living, just take over the plane again from the autopilot. Let's see. I'm pretty sure she would be living down here. Well, not now, but she lived at that moment down here along this tree line somewhere. Maybe this side road here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's... Let me just show you with the mouse. This little side road that you see here. But let's get back on track. 10 to 500, 600. So if I can follow him. And just get a little bit better back on the route. So the next city we're going to visit is the city where I got my degree as an elementary school teacher, Maribo. I have also lived here for quite some time. I think almost 10 years, perhaps, something like that. 6, 7, 8, something like that. Maybe not exactly 10 years, but something like that, definitely. I lived there some time. But first we're going to we're going to fly past one of the bridges, a smaller bridge, very old bridge. It's to say it just directly, it is, let me see, heading, this is the nav mode, VNV, let's engage the autopilot here. Let me just say right away that that bridge is a pain in the butt to get over. And the reason for it is that the bridge is relatively small compared to other bridges that we have here in Denmark, because it's so old, and also because it's so old, they're always doing some work on it. That means that usually we have stoplights in one side of the road, one side of the bridge, meaning that there's always a queue or a line that's somewhere. People are waiting and getting desperate and all that in order to get out of the to get out. And that's annoying. So yeah, but we're going to fly past that. I think it's called the old Storstrømsbro. the old Great Belt Bridge, I think it must be. And it's going to lead us almost directly to Vordingborg. When we get to Vordingborg, I'm going to tell you about... not sure I can tell you exactly. I'm not sure I want to tell you exactly where I lived, but I'm not sure I can tell you. I did see it yesterday when I took part of this route. I've changed a little bit about it, but I'm not sure I can show you exactly where I live again, because I lived again just because the buildings down here are not exact, they are generic, but and that's the reason why I might have some difficulties. Let me show you an outside look while we're flying straight and the autopilot is engaged. So now we are outside the plane and I'm going to... So this is pretty much how Denmark looks. And you can see we have these small villages. At one time they were actually very small villages, but of course as people moved in and moved out and all that, they grew in size. I think this is maybe the city of Nørre, I'm not sure, where I worked as an elementary school teacher for some time. But in general, like I said, this is to a very, very, very high degree definitely how Denmark looks. It is. I can just say it right now. So yeah. Let me see if I can adjust that trim a little bit. It is adjusting, the autopilot is adjusting itself, so that's okay. Alright, so now we are approaching the bridge, I'm pretty sure, so let's get back in the cockpit. Let me just take the upper position so we can see a little bit more. And here it is. Let's take a trip over it. Yeah, maybe I should remember to disengage the autopilot. So here it is, the old bridge. The old, extremely annoying bridge. Oh yes. Let's engage the autopilot. So out here you might be able to see, let me just use the mouse instead. Out here somewhere, here we have Pharaoh, not Pharaoh, but Pharaoh, a Pharaoh you could call it, an island, not the Faroe Island, but just Pharaoh. And from that we have the Pharaoh Bridge going over here. And then we have the other part of the Pharaoh Bridge. The hanging bridge is here, you can see a little bit part of it, and the solid bridge is over here. So let's take a look out here. Now the problem with the reason why I don't want to show you the Pharaoh Bridge is that for some reason they just made it a generic bridge, and that's not very interesting. Then we can just as well look at the old Great Belt Bridge right here, going from, and I'm quite sure that little bitty island, or I'm not sure if it is an island or a peninsula that you see there, is called Or. So actually at some point when we want to go to the beach, we went over to what is called Orstrand, Or Beach, and yeah, this is a part of it. So from there is actually also a little bridge that takes us from Or to Vordingborg, and you can see we're actually nearing Vordingborg right now. So this is Vordingborg, and you can actually see on the map the little island that's called Or. So you drive basically this way here. A little S-turn. So you go this way. You practically you practically see all the road when you all of the island when you take this trip here, because it's an S-turn. And then let's turn into Vordingborg. This is a city that is a little bit bigger than the ones you've seen from now. I think that Nykøbing is actually bigger than Vordingborg. Now again, I would very much like to show you where I studied for becoming a teacher. It might be that building you see down there, the big brown building, the long one, because that is pretty much what the seminarium, as it's called, is. A pretty long building, but I'm not sure about it. I am definitely sure that I tried to get the waypoints to be as close as possible. Let me just try to extend the flaps. So we are going to slow down, if it will let me. It might also be that flat building you see down here. Just wait. Yeah, it can be any number of buildings, but this is the city where I lived and studied to become an elementary school teacher. So let me see if I can follow the road all the way up to where I lived, because it was a little bit outside the main city. A little bit. Gain a little bit altitude. So let's see.
500.
It might be in this area here. I'm not sure about it. I'll try to see if I can find. There is a main road here somewhere. There it is. See if I can follow it around without crashing, of course. And then I'm looking for a roundabout. There it is. This should be the correct roundabout. Now again, the thing is that many of these things are very, very generic in nature. Yeah, it seems to be the right one. There's the little turn. I actually also had a girlfriend living in this area down here. Let's turn in here. And let me see if I can notice it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see the red buildings down there. Then there should be some black ones there. Let me just look down. Those buildings there. Right there. Now, I didn't live in a barn, but again, it's a generic buildings, and that's the problem right here. Alright, so let's gain some altitude again. And I actually hoped yesterday, when I planned this route, let's see if I can avoid that windmill there. When I planned this route, I hoped that just adjust the throttle a little bit. There we go. No, I don't want to stall. I just engage the autopilot. Alright, let me see if he can... There we go. I was hoping last time that when yesterday when I enabled, let me just go to enable the nav mode. See if he can do what I want him to do. Because he was just jerking around. I'm sorry, but he was trying to align, and that's fine, but I wanna flopping around. It seems that he got the course correction right now. Alright, so last time, yesterday when I was planning this route here, I was actually hoping that it would be a nice and clear day today, because we have had some clouds and we have had some rain, so, but definitely we got both. We got clear skies, as you can see, and I can tell you when I look out my window right now, here where I live now in Copenhagen, we have clear skies, and I find that to be so freaking cool. If you go to the next city that we're going to, Nestor, you should be able to see that there's clear skies in Nestor. And I must admit, I find that to be so freaking intriguing, so cool. Now that we have the autopilot enabled, so we can take a look around. And again, as you can see, there are so much farmland here in Denmark. So it makes perfect sense when people tell you that Denmark is 70% farmland. It really is. And down there, you can see the road leading from Vordingborg to Nestor. Now, there is a small city down there, and I'm quite sure that is not Nestor. It's one of the smaller... It's not really a village, but in Denmark we do call it villages, even though they aren't really villages. And there's a little inlet. I'm not sure what you call it. In Denmark we call it a bugt, so bay perhaps. I can't remember the name, but it's a very nice. When you drive past in car, you can look out on the water. It's pretty nice, and then on a clear, lovely day like this, it's a nice place to be. It really is. Denmark is in fact a beautiful country, but I would say very different than what people probably normally see, because we have so extremely much farmland. And I know that for many of my American friends, they will say, well, we have farmlands here, we have huge farms. Yes, and that's true. But I would argue that it is not 70% of the United States that is farmland. Heck, I would even argue, perhaps, that for some of the largest states that are really farming states, that 70% of the state is not farmland. So Denmark is very much farmland. Denmark is farmers. And I suppose, just to give a little historical reference, I suppose it comes from the fact that most people think that the Vikings, not talking about the series, but the people, the Vikings here from the northern parts of the world. I'm pretty sure that many people thought that the Vikings were sort of fighters and warriors and all that, but the interesting fact is that most of the Vikings that went on raids and fought were actually farmers, carpenters, and all that. They were just normal people that just have a lust for plundering and killing and maiming and all that. So yeah. And I suppose that is why the farming idea in Denmark is very hard to get rid of, even though we need to support most of our farmers with support from the state in order for them to survive. I think the reason why people don't want to give up that idea is that we are a farming nation. We have been for over 1,000 years. We've been for over 1,000 years. So, yeah. I suppose that's the reason. As you can see, the autopilot is keeping the plane nice and steady. We have a bit of turbulence. I hope that that's okay for you. And right now, I will try to see if I can find my old high school. And again, it's somewhere around the waypoints that I've put out. So I'll try to see if we can find it. Extend the flaps so we can... Let me see if I can follow the road here. It's pretty hard to follow the roads here.
Fyn Air 157 to you are 20,000 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
But I would suppose that the high school would be down here somewhere.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, Fyn Air 1572.
Just change the cockpit view to upper. There, that might help a bit.
KLM 1128, you are 6,400 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, altimeter 29.907. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, KLM 1128.
If you wonder why I'm very quiet, it's simply because I am trying my best to figure out where that high school might be. And again, since these are generic buildings, it is so hard to see what is what. So I might not be able to point it out. But this is Nestor, and this is one of the biggest cities we have here in Denmark. It might be that building you see down there. Again, it looks like farm countries or barns or something like that. Because we had a football arena around here. Just see if I can turn around quickly enough there. And we have this big grass area here. And then I'm pretty sure the high school is somewhere around here. Might be that building there, but it's so hard to see when the buildings are generic like they are here. So if we can gain a little bit of altitude. Retract the flaps.
Beeline 2258, descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
500.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet, beeline 2258.
There we go. Alright, so we gained a little bit of altitude, and let me see if I can figure out where it is. I might not be able to see it simply because we have these generic buildings. But it would be down here somewhere in this area.
Beeline 225 feet, you are 6,200 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet altimeter, 29.907.
We're approaching the hour, so let's get back on course.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet below.
But yeah, somewhere down there is the high school that I went to. Then the next thing I'm going to try to see if I can point out is one of the big hospitals here in Nestor. And the reason why I find that to be interesting is because that's the place I was born. I was born at Nestor Hospital. And I'm quite sure that brown building or whatever it is you can see out there in the distance, that's the hospital. That's part of the hospital. The hospital is actually relatively big. I can tell you when we get up to the part of it, side of it, whether it's the right building or not. It should be, because it's the only real building in Nestor that is so hard. And yes, that's it. That's Nestor Hospital.
500.
That is where I was born. Let me just see if I can show you, because this is the main building. This is part of the hospital. This is all of this long building that you have here. This is also part of the hospital. Now, let me just see if I can engage the autopilot. No, that's not what I wanted. Stop. You can see it down there. So this is part of the hospital. This is all part of the hospital, and this is a big place where you can park your car. Alright, the next thing I'm going to try to show you is my perhaps first workplace. And it's right there. It's so easy to see from the air, fortunately. It is a big
500.
mall called Bilka. Actually, it's comprised of the main part that is called Nestor Store Center, Nestor Big Center. I'm not sure what you would call it. And then Bilka is a mall inside of it, but it's actually comprised of smaller parts, smaller businesses. So this entire building here is part of it. Let me see if I can show you exactly where I worked. I worked back in this area around here as an employee in the warehouse part. So I did various jobs. And let me show you one of the truly best parts of working at that place. I also worked in one of the smaller stores. At that point in time it was called Sonophone, but it has transformed its names dozens of times. So if we follow the road out here, we should find, just get a little bit past and turn around again. And as you can see, Nestor also has its own little airport. It's actually called I think it's just called a Nestor airstrip. It's not really an airport. Just take a real sharp turn here. Alright. Again, generic buildings, but that building you can see right there, that is McDonald's. So sometimes we took the car from work when we had some time, we had a pause, and then we drove down and found food at McDonald's. Very healthy, right? Yeah. Alright, so now we can engage this little autopilot. So now you have seen where I worked, where I was born. Now I'm going to show you that little city where I grew up. Actually, that is really a little village. And I have flown past it a couple of times and I can't exactly recognize my parents' house. Mainly again because the buildings are generic. But I can definitely recognize the area. I can recognize the farm that is just in front of my parents' house. So let me just check if I had the flap extended. Yes, I have. Let's raise it one step. I can definitely recognize that farm area where that farm strip where the farmer, when he harvests, we get a lot of dust and all that in from his harvest. So this is the main road going from Nestor to where my parent lives, through an area called the Stenskoven. And here we come upon my old hometown. Let me just extend the flaps fully again. So I only extend, usually you extend the flaps to slow down or to get a little bit raising the level. So let me just see. Come from the main road.
500.
And then we drive up here. And right down there, ladies and gentlemen, this is where yours truly live. Let me see if I can make another little bit of pass. And I must admit, I am not veering away from Star Citizen, not at all. But I must say I find this extremely, and once again, extremely fascinating. I can fly over and see the place where I grew up as a child from above. And even though the buildings are generic, and that makes it a little bit more annoying. Let's see if I turned all the way around. Yeah, I did. Alright, so let's alright, so level out a little bit. Down there in this area, one of these buildings down there is where my parents live. But I can't exactly tell you where it is, because I can't recognize the building. Alright, so let's follow this main road here, up to the road, the area where I went to school, elementary school, that is, Roskilde School. So this city you can see we're approaching right now. It's a wonder that it hasn't merged with Gilsted, where I grew up, yet, but it hasn't, for some reason. And last time I flew here, I could also point out where school was. Let's see if I can do it again. let's see. This area down here, that's where I went to school. This is Magle Skole, and that little bare area you could see there, just see if I can find it again. Take a sharp turn. That area there, I have played a lot of basket right there. The red buildings that you saw behind us right now is a home for the elderly. Not sure what you would call it in English. In Denmark we call it an alderdomshjem, so that would probably a home for old people. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can see it again. Maybe this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is. It's completely in the opposite direction of the schools. Let's just take a swivel around. Now I'm probably going to split this video up in several parts, because I've already recorded more than an hour. I don't want to make these episodes too long, even though it is very interesting. It is, right? So this area here, this is the home for the elderly. It's called, yeah, what was it called?
Speedbird 814, you are 5 miles southwest.
How terrible, huh? It's been so long.
Expect ILS runway for left approach by Kilo Alpha Sierra transition. Cleared to Kilo Alpha Sierra.
So let me show you one other thing before we move on.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway for left
Just
approach by
gain
Kilo
a little
Alpha
bit of
Sierra
altitude.
transition. Cleared to Kilo Alpha Sierra Speedbird 814.
So here we have one of the open swimming pools in Gelsted, Magle. It's called the Magle Hall. And there you see it. This is how it actually looks. The buildings don't look like that, but the water is there. And let me just turn around once more.
Scandinavian 502, contact Kastrup approach on 120.205.
The grass that you see there and there, right here, before the hall, on that I've played a lot of football. Soccer, that is, not American football. Alright? Let's continue to the next city, which is also a relatively big city in Denmark, called Roskilde.